we are going to be talking about working with DOS commands. And when we talk about working with DOS command, we simply mean how you're going to apply the commands in the command line without getting an error message. And for instance, even at the course of this, we might get error messages, but we're going to also show you how to fix them at once. So now we're going to start by explaining it to you in a clearer language. It can only communicate with the user with well-defined keywords or symbols called commands. It is necessary that one understands and use these commands for easy communication to the computer. And we have two categories of commands in DOS. We have the internal and the external DOS command. Now, for instance, assuming you're working on DOS environment and you want to know what the time is, there is no need for you going back to know what the time is. All you just do is you just type your time command and press enter. It will actually show you the time you're currently working with. Now again, is you can also want to know the date at the same time. The simple thing you do is just you press your date and press the enter. It will also show you the date and the date format you are working with. You also can apply some other commands. For instance, we typed time, for instance, and it displayed this. We press enter, maybe we'll get the date. We have so many things written all over there. Let's say your system is filled up and you want to clear it. What you have to do is you enter a command called clear screen, and the way you enter it, you don't write clear screen on the screen to execute the command. No, all you have to do is just press CLS and enter. It will clear the screen for you to see way and how to make input of data or commands to get a particular thing done. Now again, is you can type things into DOS and also save them as well. And this particular one, to achieve this, there are two commands you can use. We have one, the edit command, and two, the copycon command. The edit command doesn't work in all Windows version, but copycon works in all Windows version. So now how you're going to do that is, if you want to enter your stuff, the command you want to work with, you want to type in a document, you can easily use the copycon or the edit depending on the Windows version you're working with. But before you create files, I would like us to look into the rules for creating files. The rule number 1 says it must be identified by a name called file name. You must make sure you create a file with a file name. And number 2, it must not exceed 8 characters and must not contain spaces. When you're given a file name, it shouldn't exceed 8 characters and it should have a particular file name without spaces. Now it must be of alphabets only. When you're giving your file name, make sure it is of alphabets only before doing that. So now we are going to look into creating the files now on this platform. So let's see how it goes. To create a file is very easy in DOS. It doesn't take much time. It's very simple. But now, what is file? That is a question. Files should be identified by a file name which we have already specified, and you make sure you put a particular extension name. And we have different extension name that you can talk about. They have the .txt, .doc, .jpeg, .pmp, and so on and so forth. So now let's create a file. We're going to be creating a file, and in this scenario we're going to create a file. We say copycon, just like we said before, space, you now give it a file name. Maybe let's say the file name is globe. We press dot extension name, say enter. Then we might just input our data. Maybe let's say we want something like the globe takes care of what it owns. Now for you to save it, now you press your Ctrl Z and enter. The file is now copied. That is how you create using the copycon. You can also enter your edit environment if actually your system supports it. My window doesn't support the edit environment. So what you simply do is you make use of the copycon when you notice that other option doesn't work for you in your version of Windows. Now another thing you have to note is you can rename a file. Maybe you created a file with a particular file name and you now don't want it to be there. You want to rename the file. You can simply come there and do it like this by typing your ren space, the initial name. Let's say we are using that initial name globe.txt. Then we'll give a space, then the new name is glow.doc, for instance. We press our enter. Now if we are trying to display it, we'll see that we will not notice it, but the globe will no longer be there. Let's say if we want to identify if the globe is there, we're still going to know how to do that as we continue with the topic we are discussing now. So now we're going to look how to view the content of the document we have created. Now if you want to view the content, it is as simple as that. Indoors you don't have to say open, you just have to work strictly on command. So to view the document we created, the file we created that we just changed to glow, what we'll do is we just type space glow.doc, press enter. It will give us the content of what we typed. That is how you view it. Now in some scenario you want to know the attribute, whether it's a system file or a document file, whatever. What you do is you just say attribute space glow.doc. Let's just say glow. Press your enter. Okay, we didn't specify the extension name, sorry. We can do that, space glow. Don't we have glow here? Well, what we'll do now is we just type attribute again. Let's confirm that again. Maybe glow.doc. Yeah, it just confirmed it. It's not case sensitive, so let's just take note of that, so that we don't think it's because it's not case sensitive. So we just got it. The attribute is a document file that is found under the G drive. So what we're going to be looking into now is copying and moving files. So if you want to copy files or move files, what do you do? First of all, let's clear the screen. CLS, press enter. Want to copy a file? We have a file already called glow.doc. Want to copy it into another environment. Already I might say I want to copy, I think we have a file called direct recall folder. I have a place I can change to. Okay, I have a file already, so we can copy from one point to another. Let's just say we are copying the file, say copy space d colon, what's the file name, glow.txt.doc space. We want to take it to the same folder but in another place called root. The directory, press enter. I've copied it to the environment. So if we check here, we'll see glow is under the D drive, and also we can also do the same thing. Let's change to the root environment. Then we'll check DR again. We'll also see the glow again to show that it has been copied into the place we chose it to be copied. Now on the other hand, we can still move files. Instead of copying just like we did, we can just decide to move it from one point to another. We don't intend to allow any version of it to remain in the previous place where it was situated. Now what I'm going to do now is, let's say dir, so that we'll get the list of all the files we have in the space. So we only have a file called glow. So I'm going to copy this glow into, I'm going to move it totally into a directory called house. We're going to still learn how to create a directory and how to create a subdirectory, but for now let's just stick to understanding how to move this particular file called glow.doc into a folder, a directory called house. So what we'll do is we say move space the D drive colon, the file name is glow.doc space, we are copying it back to, we're moving it to D drive, a place called house. We say it has been moved. So let's check if it is still inside the D drive. We no longer, here we have it here, but here that it indicates now that we have actually moved it, so it doesn't exist here again. So that is how you move things from a particular area in MS-DOS.